The Trump administration has dramatically expanded a program that allows local police and sheriffs to, in effect, have the powers of an immigration officer. It's meant to have more officers doing enforcement across the country. More than 600 local police and sheriff's agencies across the country are or have asked to participate. And so on this map you see, all the states in green have some local agencies doing immigration enforcement. In New York so far, the Broome County Sheriff has agreed, as have agencies in Nassau and Rensselaer County. Ben, I'm really interested because of your law enforcement background. Do you think this is appropriate for local officers to be helping in federal enforcement?
Yes, if it's signed by a judge, and specifically at the county level. You've got somebody that's under arrest. They're still presumed innocent until found guilty, but they're in the jail. They've already been taken into custody. If there is something signed by a judge that tells law enforcement that they need to be taken in front of a judge, then yes, it should be served. And I agree that the county should. At the local municipality level, it's an issue for me because they don't get the same training in civil law. And civil law is much different than criminal law. So I have an issue with local law enforcement when you're talking about municipalities that do not serve civil paperwork. They're not familiar with civil law, and I think that becomes a lot more complicated.
Now, what if it's not the warrant, but they're asked to just detain somebody till ICE could get there to arrest them? We know the issue in Tompkins County where that became, where the sheriff did not hold the person, and President Trump himself lambasted him for that.
Yeah. The due process thing is a sticking point for me. People can be held for a reasonable amount of time for certain investigations, but again, if we're talking about the civil administrative type of paperwork, no, absolutely not.
One of the things that you had said in the green room and pointed out accurately is that this isn't actually new. The program that you're talking about is called 287G. It's existed since the mid-90s, and it's one of several different interior enforcement programs. The detention one you're talking about is Secure Communities, which was Obama's favored interior enforcement mechanism. That led to the deportation of 400,000 illegal immigrants. The advantage from that, from a social scientist standpoint, is that gives us insight into what some of the unintended consequences of these kinds of policies are. One of which is that when local police turn their attention toward immigration enforcement, things happen like Hispanics start to underreport violent and property crime. It's a trust issue.
They're scared to report.
Yeah, but both for their own and their community's well-being. And so if you think that local law enforcement should be focused on the health and safety of the local population, these kinds of policies should give you pause, I'd say.
So Chad's point cannot be understated. It's already a fact that we have people that underreport crimes due to fear of retribution, fear of the government, culturally even, to start with, and then you throw this into the mix. So that can't be overstated.
Yeah, so this is a federalism issue here, right? So the federal government has the right over immigration, but police powers belong to state. And in this case, with 287G and others, it's about a memorandum of agreement. So it's about federalism. So if the local governments, they agree to cooperate, then, then they can help the federal government enforce. And I want to point this Secure Communities Act thing, right? This was actually a much more expansive presence of ICE in actually jail. So what it does is that anybody who is taken to custody based on the Secure Communities Act, their fingerprints are sent to the FBI database to look for other crimes, but their information is also sent to ICE immediately, and that has led to way more deportations, right? So this part is, and there's nebulous ideas. Are government compelled to do it? Many people don't know, but Trump's administration is more and more thinking that you are compelled to actually inform this to ICE based on the act. There is some legal issues there. But on the other hand, whether there is no obligation, according to the Immigration Naturalization Act, there is no obligation for local governments to help immigration officials commandeer federal government policy. They can do so like in any federalism, by creating a memorandum of agreement. So I think it will play out state by state, but I cannot understate the importance of the Secure Community Act, which had been violently, incarcerating to many communities.
Just to clarify on that, that secure communities existed from 2008 to 2014. Then it was replaced by something else that I think was effectively the same. Then it went away. Then it came back. Then it went away. I don't even know where it is now.
Tara, voters wanted President Trump to enforce immigration and deport persons. So isn't this program helpful? There should be a number of people in our area that are favoring this.
I imagine there are, but there's a couple of things here. First of all, most individuals, when they thought about the federal government dealing with immigration, did not think that that would shift the focus of their local police, their local sheriffs, et cetera. And if you think about the fact that, I don't think I've heard in the last, 4 or 5 years of any municipality, state, federal, whatever, saying, oh yeah, we've got enough police, we've got enough sheriffs, we don't need, we're good to go. So you're adding one more thing that is now their responsibility. So no one was envisioning that. So that's the first problem here. I think the second problem is that no one who says, okay, you need to do something about immigration was also thinking you need to do something about immigration and eliminate due process. Now, or at least most people, let me put it that way. So I think that's the other problem for individuals.
Exactly. And I'll tack on there, the mandate that was expressed verbally to the voters were to deport violent criminals. That's what was specifically said. We're seeing something else play out with some of these measures that's now taking part in.